So I just wanted to do a quick rundown of one of the weapons that is basically going massively under the radar at the moment, and it is the wild style double fire frame grenade launcher, which was recently introduced to the Nightfall loot pool alongside the Guardian Games update. Recently we covered a video on the channel with the Wilderflight, which is also the only other double fire frame grenade launcher in Destiny 2 currently available, but this one is absolutely as rare as rocking horse at the minute, and that's basically because it's only been available for 2 weeks currently, and this week is the last one that you'll be able to get it until the final shape when the Nightfall rotation resets. And I think you need to get yourself into the Nightfall and start grinding for one of these, because there is some absolutely insane rolls on this weapon, and one of the main reasons why I think you should be getting it is because obviously breach loaded frame grenade launchers are absolutely meta for ad clear. Firstly though, the main reason is that the wild style grenade launcher, along with the slammer, which is the stasis sword which was also introduced alongside this, is gonna have the ability to have the perks in the final 2 columns enhanceable when the final shape DLC drops. Now you might think that that's not amazing, but to be fair, we don't have many special weapons that can have enhanceable perks that are outside the crafted weapons, and we only have 1 or 2 grenade launchers that can do that, and the perks on them probably are a little bit subpar to what you can actually get on the wild style. So the main difference between these double fire frame grenade launchers and pretty much every other breach loaded grenade launcher in the game is that these do effectively 30% more damage on direct impact to targets. Now the only weapon that has recently surpassed that is the mountaintop, which has just been absolutely juiced to the maximum, but obviously these 2 weapons sit in different slots, so if you're using different style loadouts then there's potential for the wild style to do some absolutely insane damage, and there's a few reasons for that, and it's mainly looking at the final column perks. Now there's 2 perks in there that are really going to help boost that damage, and the first one that's taken my fancy is the one for all perk. Now hitting 3 separate targets within 3 seconds of each other is going to grant you a massive 35% damage boost for 10 seconds. Now unfortunately this one can't be refreshed, but it is one that is going to boost the damage of it, and it can be absolutely doing bits on champions and higher health targets in a ton of content at the minute. Obviously it's not one that you're going to want to use for boss damage or anything like that, but in terms of like general day-to-day play and in sort of legend and master level content, then one for all is really going to be an absolutely great perk on the wild style grenade launcher. Obviously you've got that double fire frame, so you're shooting out 2 grenades. Technically you could hit 2 separate targets, maybe even 4 or 5 separate targets with one of them bounces if you manage to get some good RNG on the bounces off them grenades, and you're going to be proccing one for all pretty much near on indefinitely. But one of the other ones that stands out to me is Surrounded. Now this is going to give you a massive 40% damage boost, and it's one that can come in handy for a lot of situations, especially in like dungeons and DPS phases, and I think paired with a few perks in the 3rd column, then it really could be an absolutely great perk to chase down on the wild style grenade launcher. In terms of what you'd want to pair with it, then I'd maybe look at something like Enlightened Action, because weapon hits grant a stacks of this perk which stack up to 12 times, and it's going to give you a massive boost to your handling and reload speed. Now with this active at a 12 times stack, absolutely nearly maxes out the reload speed and the handling, so you're going to be getting them grenades back to back super quick, and with Surrounded proc you're going to be hitting some immense damage, and you've got potential for basically out damaging Mountaintop at that point, and as a special weapon it is, like I say, absolutely slept on. In terms of other perks that you might want to use there, then you've got Envious Assassin, which can potentially overfill the magazine by 200%, so you're going to get 3 shots back to back to back if you manage to proc that. But another one that you may want to use could be Keep Away. So if you are 15 meters away from your target, then you're going to get a boost to reload speed, which is going to give you a 30 boost to that stat. It isn't as good as compared to Enlightened Action, but there's potential if you are a little bit further away from targets and you don't want to get that stacking increase, then and you want that instantly readily available reload speed boost, then Keep Away probably is going to be a really good option there. Now either of them perks also actually synergize really nicely with the text balance stock origin trait. Now obviously breach fire grenade launchers, they are generally used in that hip fire mode, and landing 4 shots within 4 seconds will grant you 20 range, handling and reload speed. Now stacked on top of either keep away or enlightened action, you're going to get a massively increased reload speed and give you a reload duration multiplier, which does effectively increase the animation speed of that reload. So you are also getting not only a quicker reload speed, but also the animation is quicker. So it's pretty much as quick as a quick thing from Quickland at that rate. Now that's all well and good, and in terms of damage for boss targets and stuff like that, then I think it's absolutely going to be S tier. If you've been hunting some down in the Nightfalls, it's really nothing to scoff at. But I think one of the main perks that you probably want to look out for and tie down on this double fire grenade launcher is something that I think maybe a lot of people are sleeping on, and that's probably because of the massive popularity of Forbearance at the minute, which is absolutely god tier for a number of reasons. But obviously you've got the free to play version and the raid version, which both come with chain reaction and are just absolutely massive for ad clear. But if you didn't know, then chain reaction is getting a little bit of a nerf in the final shape, so it's not going to be as effective. It's still going to be great, but it's not going to be as godly as it is at the minute. Now there's a perk on the wild style which really does stand out to me in terms of maybe taking the place of Forbearance, and that is Incandescent. Now Incandescent on a grenade launcher, we haven't seen this on a special weapon. There is literally no other special grenade launcher that can roll with this perk. I think it's one that you probably do need to chase down, especially if you like that synergy with your solar builds with like the Ember of Ashes and stuff like that, just to increase the potency of the Scorch that it deals to nearby targets. At a base level you're going to apply 30 stacks of Scorch, and with the Ember of Ashes equipped you're going to apply 40 stacks of Scorch, which deals damage over time to enemies within 4 meters of the target that you've defeated with this weapon. And then obviously with the text balance stock trait and any of the reload animation traits on the third perk column, then you're going to be getting really good damage output potential and ad clearing damage potential and setting off tons of Scorch. You're going to be dealing massive damage with ignitions, and that's going to deal with obviously unstoppable champions if you do manage to ignite them, but it's just going to take down waves of enemies. And the potential for the ammo economy on that I think probably is a little bit greater than you do normally get with the Forbearance, mainly because of that double fire frame that you have with this wild style grenade launcher. You're going to be able to potentially hit multiple groups of enemies with the same shot, effectively the same amount of ammo, and get, you know, double your bang for your buck with Incandescent and setting off multiple Scorches, multiple ignitions, and really good build crafting synergy. Now if you really wanted to double down on that, then I think another great perk that you can roll with that one is basically the special grenade version of the Callus mini tool, which is obviously another solar weapon fan favourite, and that is by putting Unrelenting on in the third perk column. Now this perk is going to grant you and restore 65 HP upon defeating multiple targets with this weapon. Now if you are defeating multiple targets with Incandescent, then this is going to proc all the time and can come in really handy if you're not leaning into say a restoration build or a devour build or anything like that. And to be fair, it can also work with restoration, and it's just going to help you stay alive in a ton of content. And I think this weapon just has tons going for it, and I don't really massively understand why everyone has kind of turned their nose up at it. And then on top of that, if you do manage to get the Adept version, you can chuck on some of the Adept mods. There really just is a ton going for it. And then in terms of the rest of the perks, you probably want to look at getting something like hard launch, quick launch in that first column, and then even something like proximity grenades or spike grenades. You can even go with something like disorientating grenades, which is not something we've seen on a ton of grenade launchers recently, but if you pair that with Incandescent, then you've got good shutdown potential and you're going to be blinding enemies and setting them on fire. I mean, there's nothing else better than that, to be honest. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed this god roll breakdown of one of Destiny 2's most underrated grenade launchers. Your ongoing support is greatly appreciated. Again, we're going back with a little bit more of a casual style. I do enjoy putting these videos out for you, and just let me know down in the comments what you think about this grenade launcher and if you've been grinding for any, or if you want to see the drop rate increased, especially on the hero and legend versions of the Nightfalls. If you've been here before, consider subscribing or even joining our fellow members to get some bonus goodies to show off in the comments. guys, thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one, which you can click right here.